good. How you doing?
Good, good.
Thanks for calling me back.
A few days. Yeah, I've been out. Sorry, it took me a few days to get a hold of you. So, what can I do for you, sir?
Well, where are you at? Have you had a chance to review the letter that I wrote to Jeff Shrader?
Mr. Hentages, I am well aware of who you are and all of the letters that you've sent to all the county officials.
Oh, good. Okay, good. So how can you help me?
Well, that's the discussion I'd like to have, sir.
Well, you've read my letters, right?
Yes, sir. I've also read the letter sent to you by the district attorney's office.
Okay, what does that mean?
Well, I'm just not sure how I can help you, sir.
What does that mean?
Well, what are your claims, sir?
My claims are, the first one was made right in a formal criminal complaint. Did you review it?
I did, and I'll refer you that from the district attorney's office letter sent back to you.
From 2 years ago?
Yes, sir.
What does that have to do with the crime that was just committed?
I got to tell you, Mr. Hentges, I do not see a crime that was just committed.
Okay, well, you're obviously not looking into the case.
Well, sir, there is no case. Let's be clear on that.
Okay, well, you haven't seen, 1/100th of the of what's taking place currently in my case. The what's that noise? You know? Unreal. I don't know what all that noise is. Can you hear all that?
I cannot.
There's all sorts of screeching taking place, and then it just disconnected.
No, I apologize. That's not on my end at all.
Are you calling from a cell phone or from your office or what?
No, calling from my office on a hard line.
Okay. Well, I was kind of afraid, that when I wrote my strictly confidential letter to Jeff Shrader, I didn't want him to be running this by the district attorney's office, because I kind of suspect that the district attorney's office is involved in all the racketeering that's taking place in Jefferson County. So,
okay. Well, Mr. Hentges, the sheriff personally referred this case to me, and I'll use that term loosely. The sheriff is not going to investigate anything for anyone. He doesn't do those type things. I am the person in charge of doing all of that. Again, I'm well aware of your history. I'm aware of your history with the movement of the We the People. And I can go on that, Mr. Hentges.
You can?
I certainly can.
So how am I connected with We the People? What's We the People? What is that?
Not even going to discuss that with you, sir. You know exactly what I'm speaking of.
No, I don't.
You certainly do.
Well, where are you getting all this?
What else can I do for you, sir?
Well, it sounds to me like you had your mind made up from the start. So if somebody is tagged as being connected with some kind of a We the People movement, they can't get services when they're a victim of crime. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Sir, I still see no victim of a crime.
Okay, well, I'm a victim of hundreds of crimes. Hundreds of crimes have been committed against my family by what I refer to in my court documents as case-fixing criminals. Those are the judges that fixed the divorce against me years ago, and the judge... Hang on a second. Quit interrupting me. If you're obviously just...
Mr. Hentges, I'm going to be clear on this. You do not get to dictate this conversation. I want to make that perfectly clear.
Yeah, well, you made that perfectly clear from the start. You're trying to tell me that I'm not a victim of crime, and I'm telling you that's false.
Correct.
That's wrong. You don't know jack about my case. You haven't even looked into it.
Sir, I know your history. I know the claims you've made. They've all been dealt with.
None of my claims have ever been dealt with. I've made hundreds of criminal claims, and not one of them has even been looked at. And you're not looking at my claims right now either.
Sir, I'm going to send you back and refer to the district attorney's letter sent to you.
That has nothing to do with the criminal complaint that I just sent you. I just had another series of crimes. Hang on a second, Paul. You know, I'm just totally blown away. If I was a cop and you were a victim of crime and you contacted me and wanted me to investigate, I'd fall over backwards if you told me anything even close to what my family's been through. And I'm just sick and tired of the routine. I've had law enforcement tell me without even looking at my evidence, well, you know, just based on what we've heard about you, you're not a victim. We're not going to look into your case. And that's exactly what you're telling me right now. You know, that's not fair, Paul. That's not fair at all. I've been through I've been through a hell for 13 years. I've been separated from my children.
I apologize for the hell you've dealt with, John.
And I've been separated from my children for over 10 years because of these case-fixing criminals. Okay? So whatever they're telling you, you need to put that aside and you need to start taking a look at the evidence in the case. Now, I attached evidence of a crime that was committed by one clerk. I sent you evidence of one crime. I haven't even told you about the other ones yet. Okay? You obviously haven't looked at it. You just contacted the district attorney's office and they said, yeah, we got rid of him a couple of years ago. You know, his letter has nothing to do with the criminal complaint that I just sent you. That just took place. Okay, he took a look at something. I don't know what he looked at, but he looked at something back 2 years ago and said that he couldn't help me out. Okay, that's a total cop-out, and I filed a lawsuit against him, and I also filed a lawsuit against Jeff Shrader. Do you know about that?
I do not.
Okay, well, you should probably read it. You guys are depriving me of my rights under color of law, and that is a crime. That's a federal crime. The district attorney committed a federal crime against me, and so did your boss, Jeff Shrader. Okay, now, I don't want to turn you even further against me. You're obviously...
So, John, with that being said, I have to recuse myself. I'm going to send you to the FBI, Colorado Bureau of Investigation, something. But
I'm already going to the FBI.
I am recusing myself from dealing with you any further. Are you clear with that?
Why?
Because you are suing the sheriff's office, the man that employs me, the man has my sheriff. I am completely have to, by the color of law, speaking of that, John, I have to recuse myself. So please stop communication with myself. Stop communication with anyone from the sheriff's office. If not, that will be dealt with.
Okay, well, who can investigate? Let's not talk about Jeff Shrader anymore. Who can investigate the crime that was just committed? The series of crimes that was just committed against me by the clerks in the clerk's office.
Again, I'm going to refer you to the Colorado Bureau of Investigation or Federal Bureau of Investigation.
I'm already talking to them.
Well,
okay, who at the sheriff's office can investigate and charge these? Hang on a second. Who can charge the suspects with the state crimes? The FBI cannot help me out with the state crimes. They can work with you guys once we get this investigation going. But who can charge the state crimes that are being committed right now by the clerk's office and by the officials with the Jefferson County Child Support Enforcement Office? There's several of those too that I'm going to be complaining about, and I need to rely on the Jefferson County Sheriff's Department to take action.
Again, we are recusing ourselves from that. You may deal with the Colorado Bureau of Investigation.
You're not a judge, Paul. Judges recuse themselves.
Hey, John.
You're not an attorney or a judge. You're a sheriff's sergeant, and you investigate crimes, don't you?
Hey, John, this conversation is over.
That call came in at I knew this guy's corrupt as hell. Called me at 8:56 p.m. on April 10th, 2018. Why so late, I don't know. I think he was probably on speakerphone. He probably had the sheriff in the office with him. He called from his number, 303-271-6033. And I'm actually going to call that number back. I don't like to be hung up on.
Hi, you've reached Paul Smoker, Sergeant with Jefferson County Sheriff's Office Special Investigations Unit. Please leave a message.
Record your message at the tone. When you are finished, hang up or press pound for more options.
Hi, Paul. This is John Hinches calling you right back. I just spoke with you. You just hung the phone up on me. I don't like to have the phone hung up on me, Paul. Yeah, it's really unprofessional. And once again, I'm a victim of crime. You obviously have the story wrong. You actually accused me of committing crimes, and I don't appreciate that one bit. Well, you're definitely off the case. You're not an attorney. You're not a judge. You don't recuse yourself. You don't have the authority to just send a victim of injustice or a victim of crime away. And you can't speak on behalf of the sheriff's department either. So when you get this message, go to Jeff Shrader, if you would. Explain to him that you do not want to work on my case. I need somebody else to work on it. Okay, you guys have a lot to do. There's a lot of crimes taking place. You know full well, obviously, what's taking place down there. You know all about the racketeering. All I'm interested right now, Paul, is the crimes that are being committed against my family. Okay, the rest of the stuff will all these racketeers will fall by the wayside as soon as the first criminal is charged with a crime. And so I'm really disappointed, Paul. I went online, I read some articles. I thought I knew that you had been on the force for 25 years. You're obviously a criminal yourself, and I don't appreciate this one bit. But you committed a crime against me, sir, too, and it's called deprivation of rights under color of law. You cannot turn somebody away just because you heard from somebody else that I belong to some kind of a We the People movement or whatever you call that. I don't, and that's a false accusation, but that has nothing to do with the fact that I'm a victim of crime and so are my children, and the Sheriff's Department has turned me away now for 13 years. So anyway, when you get this message, you are off the case. I'll see you in court, and but I expect a phone call from someone at the Sheriff's Department that's going to help me out. So please refer this case back to Jeff Shrader and tell him to assign a different person to get in touch with me. Thanks.
Hi, John. My name is Jim Taylor. I'm an investigator with the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office.
Yes, how you doing, Jim?
Doing well, thank you. I was given your number to do a little bit of follow-up and have some information for you if you have a second.
Okay, go ahead.
One is, can I get your home address or a mailing address for you, please?
I have it right on my letter.
Okay, I don't have anything in front of me. It's all up in the sheriff's office, and I'm in a different location.
No, I'm not going to give you my physical address. My life's in danger. Not until I get somebody who's going to actually help me down there.
Okay, that is why I'm calling. From the sheriff and from our office, you need to cease and desist in calling the sheriff's office or sending emails unless there is an emergency. An emergency constitutes you being in danger in this immediate area. If you have an emergency out in Minnesota, that's fine. Call someone in Minnesota. They will come and help you. Do you understand?
Yeah, but that's not the issue
okay.
The
issues that you brought up are civil issues that stem back to court cases that have already been taken care of, and they need to be handled as such.
No, they're not civil issues. These are all crimes, and they're very serious crimes.
If you continue calling the sheriff's office and harassing the sheriff and his secretary, there will be a restraining order issued. Do you understand that?
Well, it'll be an illegal restraining order.
Okay. Do you understand there will be a restraining order issued keeping you from calling the sheriff or his secretary? Do you understand that?
Whose decision is this?
Do you understand what I'm saying to you, sir?
Well, I'm not going to answer any of your questions. Who is making these decisions? Is it Jeff Shrader?
Do you understand what I told you?
This is a joke. You know, I'm a victim of crime. I can prove it. You guys have actually seen evidence. Have you seen the first criminal complaint that I sent down there, Mr. Taylor?
All right.
Have you seen the criminal complaint? I'm tired of being framed by you guys. You guys are a joke. You know, Paul Smoker did the same thing. He falsely accused me of being a member of the We the People movement. I'm not a member of that. You know, and he used it as an excuse not to help me out. Okay? Well, that makes no difference. I'm a victim of crime. I can prove it. You guys can tell. You have evidence in your hand of a crime that was just committed against my family just recently, and if you don't do anything about it, you're committing misprision of felony. And if you take offense to that, well, that's your problem. You guys are obviously not doing your job, and this is just a smokescreen to get me to go away. I'm not going away. Okay? I'm not doing anything wrong by reporting crimes to your office, sir. Okay, that's what I'm doing. I'm reporting crimes to your office, and you guys are doing everything imaginable to obstruct justice. So, once again, I need to speak directly to Mr. Shrader. I need somebody to open up an investigation and start looking at the crimes, interviewing the suspects, doing whatever you guys do down there, and initiating crime victim services for all 5 of my children and me. This is a very serious matter. I can prove hundreds of crimes over the last 13 years, and Mr. Shrader knows that. And so does Peter Weir. He gave me the... he decided to neglect the issue too, and I filed a lawsuit against Shrader and Weir and several other people. It didn't get anywhere in the federal courts because they're fixing court cases there too, just like they're doing in Jefferson County. Okay, but once again, I don't want to concentrate on the racketeering and the case fixing right now. All I want to do is I want to focus on this one crime, or these few crimes that are taking place right now in my case, and there's an illegal foreclosure action being taken by the Department of Human Services, and I want the Sheriff's Department to step up and stop this. You guys are obligated to protect me and my family and our property. And I can prove these crimes, Mr. Taylor. So I don't want to hear this nonsense about if I don't cease and desist contacting you guys, there's going to be a restraining order issue against me. You guys are committing another crime against me. You can't do that. I'm a victim of crime, and I'm entitled to your services. And if you don't, Mr. Smoker gave me the impression that because you guys have been, I don't know who you're getting your information, and probably the corrupt guys at the Denver FBI that I reported the case fixing to. They turned against me years ago, and they started spreading rumors about me, and they got the Marshal Service to get involved, and that's who is making these attempts on my life right now. I'm up against an army of what I call deep state traitors, or not what I call, what I've researched and what the experts call deep state traitors. And I realize that the government needs a deep state because there's a lot of things that need to be protected from outside influences and our foreign and domestic enemies, but I want to work with the deep state patriots, not the deep state traitors. And every time somebody treats me like you're treating me right now, Mr. Taylor, I immediately put them on the side of on my list of deep state traitors. Okay, I don't want to work with deep state traitors. I want to work with deep state patriots, and I need to know whether or not Jeff Shrader is going to do his job. He knows full well that I'm a victim of crime and a victim of very serious crimes. And if he's not going to do his job, and if he's going to go through this nonsense about issuing a restraining order, trying to get me to cease and desist reporting the crimes, well, my answer is no. And I'm obviously not going to be able to get with him to get anywhere with him. But I need him to figure out whether or not he wants to go down that path, because if he does, I'm going to have to report him too. Okay, now once again, my 5 children and I are entitled to crime victim services, so I want that initiated. We're also entitled to some kind of protection, whatever you guys have to do to protect us from the illegal. It's an illegal foreclosure action that the Department of Human Services is taking steps on right now. Okay, so I had this all in my letter. All the information is in my letter. I also would like that first criminal complaint. I want somebody to actually do an investigation, verify that there is probable cause, that Marjorie Shook, the clerk in Jefferson County, committed several crimes against me to sabotage one of my appeals. She was hiding my documents and not filing them on the court record. This is a very serious charge, which she could be going to prison for many years. Okay, so I need you guys to start taking this seriously. I'm not committing these crimes. I'm just reporting them to you. Are you there?
I am.
So what do we
understand that everything you just told me goes towards a civil issue?
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
So when you're dealing with foreclosure, those are civil. When you're dealing with a complaint to somebody who works, who you say, against you in a foreclosure, that is a civil issue. You need to take that up through the civil courts.
Not when the foreclosure.
I sat in. Mr. Henches,
it's part of a racketeering scheme. The foreclosure is part of racketeering. The Jefferson County Department of Human Services has already extorted thousands of dollars from me. I can prove that too. They hang on a second. No, this is not a civil matter. And I've heard this nonsense for 13 years. These are crimes. And in the past, when the Sheriff's Department would say, oh, this is a civil matter, well, then I'd bring it to the attention of the judges, not knowing that they're corrupt and they're the ones that are actually orchestrating the case fixing and the racketeering. And they would say, well, if you think a crime's been committed against you, why don't you report it to the Sheriff's office? So I'd go back to the Sheriff's office and they'd say the same thing. The same thing that you're saying right now. So this is not a civil matter, and I'm sick and tired of this juvenile crap that keeps taking place. Okay? And there's nothing for me to cease and desist from. Of course, a victim of crime should not be turned away by you guys and then threatened with a cease and desist. And you better stop reporting these crimes, or we're gonna. If you pursue a restraining order against me, if the sheriff's department pursues a restraining order against me, that's fraud upon the court, and that's another crime. Okay, so you guys are stacking crime upon crime after crime, and all I'm asking you to do is to do your jobs. Whoever has seen the evidence of the crimes that I've reported to your office, if nothing's done, they're committing misprision of felony. That's a federal crime. Okay, but once again, I'm only interested in reporting the state crimes to your office. I sent my first criminal complaint. Have you seen that complaint, by the way?
I have not.
Did you read my letter to Mr. Shrader?
No, sir. That was not a letter to me.
Well, what in the hell's going on down there? I wrote a very detailed letter back on March 12th and sent it. I can't even, Mr. Smoker told me that he had read my letter, and he said, "Oh yeah, I've read your letters going back several years," and that's when he falsely accused me of having a history of making threats against state and county officials. And I said, "What are you talking about? I'm just reporting crime. I'm reporting misconduct to the highest officials in the county and the state." And and that's when he accused me of being involved in that We the People movement. And I know about it. I know about the fact that these guys are being charged with crimes by the very officials that they were putting on notice. But that's not what I'm doing. I'm just reporting crime, and I'm expecting that the county commissioners, when I report misconduct to the county commissioner's office, and they completely shun me and ignore my complaints, and they don't do anything about it, well then, they're committing crimes. Okay, and this is not a civil matter. This is not. I can't report hitmen to the mafia anyway. I can't go to these corrupt judges and say, well, yeah, the sheriff's office is once again refusing to investigate the look at the evidence that I'm sending them and investigate the crimes. They're not going to do anything about it. I'm complaining about these guys. I'm complaining about the clerk's office participating in the case fixing, and I've got that young gal, Marjorie Shook. She's caught dead to rights. I have evidence proving that she was not filing my court documents because she knew that I would miss a deadline and that my appeal would be dismissed, and that's exactly what happened. So she committed a very serious crime. She's also going to be sued too, but on the civil side. But I'll take care of that. I'm not expecting you guys to take any action on my civil claims. I'm expecting you guys to take action on my criminal claims. Okay, and once again, I need protection, and not only for our persons, my children and me, our bodies, our minds, our futures. We need protection, and then we also need protection of our property, and that's where the Jefferson County Department of Human Services is committing a very serious crime in this foreclosure action because they know that my child support is paid in full. And they've been racketeering for years, and I have proof that they have extorted thousands of dollars from me, and this is all part of their racketeering. And I also have proof that they're doing this to others because I have a growing list, and this is another thing that I wanted to talk with Mr. Shrader and his guys down there about, not right now, in the future. Right now I'm focused only on the current crimes that are being committed against my family, but I have a growing list of other victims of racketeering by the Jefferson County Child Support and Child Protective Services offices and the courts. They're fixing court cases. They're just so you know, to give you a little background, in the criminal justice system, there are thousands of people that that are victims of case fixing, and what the judges are doing, these corrupt and these are rogue judges. These guys are traitors. They're not legitimate judges, but they're overcharging, overfining, over-sentencing, over-treating, over-paroling, and they do all this to pad their numbers for extra federal funding, and they're stealing millions, tens of millions, probably hundreds of millions of dollars in the state of Colorado from the American taxpayers. And that's going on nationwide. And you know, I didn't know all this stuff years ago when I started reporting it, but now I know all about it. And so, no offense to you, Mr. Taylor, because I know you were probably put up to do this, but when I get these phone calls like this, the only thing that I can assume is that Jeff Shrader is involved and he has a lot to hide. Okay, because I don't deserve to be treated like this. I'm a victim of crime, and I want some action. And if there is no action, then he is involved, and there's going to be some. He's going to have to start worrying about his future. And I'm not talking about anything physical. I never make physical threats. I would never physically harm anyone, and I never wanted this. And these guys know that too. I'm very careful about that. When I put people on notice of that they're committing crimes against my family, I'm very careful to say in my notices that they don't have to worry about me. I'm not a violent man. I mean no harm whatsoever to any government official or anything like that. But these criminals that have hurt my family so severely, Mr. Taylor, I'm going to do everything that I can to have these guys arrested, disbarred if they're attorneys, impeached if they're judges. I'm going to keep reporting them until they're in prison where they belong. Okay, so, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't mean, I don't need somebody trying to intimidate me and get me, trying to dishearten me and trying to get me to give up trying to reunite my family. I've been separated from my 5 kids, Jim, for over 10 years. Okay, and these case-fixing criminals in our courts, I have filed, and just to show you on the civil side, I have filed over 700 court documents over the last 12 years, and not one of them's even been looked at. They just dismiss them on technicalities. Okay, and the reason they don't look at them is because they know that I have evidence to prove my claims, and they don't want it on the public record. So I need the sheriff's department to start taking this stuff seriously. You can tell that I'm not lying. All you have to do is read my criminal complaint. I sent my criminal complaint, by the way, in one paragraph states the essential elements of probable cause of several state crimes, and then there's an affidavit attached that provides the essential fact elements that prove probable cause that these crimes were committed, and then I attach the evidence. I reference the evidence. So all you guys have to do on that one criminal complaint is to verify that I have evidence that proves probable cause of, I don't know exactly which ones of the crimes. I cited the ones that I thought were committed. But once again, you guys don't even have to interview anyone. You can simply verify the evidence that I said that proves probable cause. And then you can go to the district attorney and say there's we believe that a crime's been committed against Mr. Henches. He's provided evidence, and then, you know, and then Peter Weir is going to have to do his job. Right now, he keeps relying on the sheriff's department to give him an excuse to turn me away. And in 2015, I wrote a very detailed letter, a series of letters to Jeff Shrader and Peter Weir. Weir, or one of the district attorneys, just sent me a cop-out letter that said, you know, that they weren't going to help me, or it said basically what you just said, that these are civil matters, and so, you know, just to make sure that I was covering all the bases, I then took the information that I sent to them, and I sent it to the chief judge, James McNulty. Philip James McNulty, okay, and he wouldn't help me out either, and so I went back to the sheriff's department again, and the district attorney, and they decided they weren't going to help me either. So, you know, once again, and right there, I knew that the chief judge was another corrupt chief judge with the Colorado First Judicial District, and he has since committed numerous crimes against my family. But once again, I don't want to get into the real difficult ones until later. All I'm interested in right now is reporting the most recent crimes that took place against me to destroy my sabotage my appeal. And my appeal was dismissed, by the way, because of the actions of this Marjorie Shook. And all
right, Mr. Henches. You have just said yourself, you have been told over the last 13 years this is all civil. You have been told that by sheriff's office employees, you have been told that by judges, you have been told that by the district attorney's office.
Yeah, but once again, that's been proven wrong by the chief judge. The chief judge...
Sir, my turn. I've sat and listened, now it's my turn to talk.
Okay.
You just said you have filed thousands of lawsuits, and when you don't get your way, you put people on your list and you file a lawsuit against them. So, you need to understand, the sheriff's office will not investigate this.
I filed hundreds of court documents.
Or hundreds, okay, of court documents, which have all been declined, if I'm not mistaken. You need to show up to your court appearance or your court dates and fight your court. Hold on. The sheriff will not call you back, and there will be no more contact between the sheriff's office and you unless you continue to call and there is a restraining order issued to you. Do you understand?
No, I do not understand, and I will not understand that. This is not going to happen. I need to...
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Hang on a sec. No, don't hang up the phone on me, please.
Why? You're just going to say the same things.
No, I'm not going to say the same things. Now, I want to cover that point that you just brought up. That does not matter right now today, and the reason it doesn't matter is because the cop-out letter that I received from Michael Doherty with the district attorney's office was back in January of 2016. This criminal complaint that I just sent to Mr. Shrader's office contains evidence proving a crime that was just committed about a month ago. Okay, this has not been looked at by the district attorney's office, and I specifically requested that it not be shared with the district attorney's office in my confidential letter.
It has to be shared with the district attorney's
I know eventually it does, but you guys need to do your job first, and your job is to verify that I am telling the truth and that I am a victim of crime. And that's not what you're doing.
You court documents over the last 13 years when you don't get your way.
I did not submit my first criminal complaint, which I just sent, alleging this crime. I didn't send that to the courts. That has nothing to do with the courts. I'm reporting the crimes by the clerk's office to the sheriff's department.
Okay, and all those go back to your 4 civil court cases where you are not getting your way, and now you are saying there is a crime that has been committed. You need to go to court or your civil actions and take care of them in civil court.
No, hang on a second.
Like I said before, Mr. Hinches, the sheriff's office will not be calling you back.
Hang on a second. Stop that, please. And don't hang up the phone on me either, Mr. Taylor. Hang on. Don't
email anymore, a restraining order will be issued against you. And then, if you call, a warrant will be put out for your arrest. Do you hear me?
Well, yeah, I did hear that. I did hear that, and that is a crime. You are making a threat against me to have me falsely arrested, and you just committed a crime, Mr. Taylor.
It will not be a crime.
No, you just committed a crime, and I'm putting you on notice of it right here on the phone. You committed a crime against me.
You didn't like the outcome, so now
no.
your list as well. So I understand that. Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
Do not hang the phone up on me. That call came in at no telephone number. It says no caller ID. Came in at 12:41 p.m. Minnesota time on Friday, April 13th, 2018.